8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I love that video. Every time that comes on, I'm like, yeah, that's our countdown. That's our jam. Welcome to the Capital Film Arts Alliance, CFAA Film Talk, our webcast that connects everybody who's doing cool stuff in the Northern California region. We are introducing to you another new friend in the business tonight, and going to talk a lot about one of the programs that we can see, I think, more kind of cool creative stuff like this coming down the pike. So this is something we can't wait to get into so that you can talk to her about. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lori Peterson. I'm the director of the Capital Film Arts Alliance, and we are a nonprofit association that is basically designed to connect everybody in the creative community and to build the film industry here in Sacramento and in the surrounding regions as well. We have had a lot of really great growth in recent periods, and then COVID. So we're really finding our way back to where we need to be. But in the meantime, we're also getting really creative with finding ways to bring you conversations and topics and people. I wasn't actually planning this week to do anything, and then I had a conversation with my friend Shira Lane, who, let me know that they were getting ready to launch this program. We've been talking about it for months, so I'm really excited to be able to bring it to you. And so we decided to kind of do a last minute, let's get it out there on Facebook and let everybody have a chance to ask questions about it. This is one of those things where Shira, who's an arts champion in Sacramento, who oversees, directs the Atrium, which is an arts association, and it has actually done a lot of really cool things for artists, and it's bringing them a place where their voices can be heard too. So much like filmmakers and the Capital Film Arts Alliance, and what we like to think we do for you, Shira is doing that on behalf of all artists through the Atrium. She negotiated with California Cable Commission, Sacramento Cable Commission, and to create this new program and to actually have the opportunity to pay creatives for the content that they submit that is approved. So that's what we're going to be telling you about. If you are a writer, if you are a filmmaker, if you're an actor, if you're anybody on a crew, if you have a freaking cell phone and you want to be able to tell a story, this is your opportunity to not only do it, but also get paid for it. So enough said, because I'm telling her whole story and she's really fun to listen to. So we're going to bring her on board, and I'm happy to introduce Shira Lane.
Hey! Hi!
Hey.
What a wonderful introduction. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I think it's so important that like the Capital Film Alliance is like here, and it's a place and a hub for people, because connecting creatives is just so important for us to kind of collaborate and figure out what opportunities are available. And I really appreciate all the work that you do, Lori. You do so much for the film community. So thank you so much for having me here tonight. I really appreciate it.
Kindred spirits, girl. I mean, we're both trying to figure out what we can do to leave a footprint and have a little bit of a legacy, but more importantly, represent these really cool creative people that are in our communities, and how we can help to take them to the next level, and what that means and what it says about our own region and the talent that we have here. So the Atrium, first and foremost, before we get into the new program, because that's going to take a chunk of the time, the Atrium, which many of you might remember from being over by Sac State, they have recently relocated. So tell us a little bit about your iteration now and where you are and what you're doing in that particular place, because it's a little different.
Yes. So we were at 7300 Folsom Boulevard, the Creative Innovation Center for Sustainability. We had a huge 34,000 square foot building. And we recently moved to Old Sacramento. We are now in a retail space. So we kind of changed from an office space that we had a lot of space to do indoor events to now a retail space where we have space to do outdoor events. And so we're learning how that shift is happening. You are welcome to come and join and hang out with us. We just built an outdoor work area, hangout area. And we have beautiful sayings. So we have 10 sayings that wonderful artist Ryan Stark helped letter for me. And these are the things that we believe in. Yeah, and the space is cool. So it's a retail space. So we have artist studios pretty much. And our program, one of our programs, Sacramento.shop, which is an online marketplace for local creatives, is located there. And just to plug that, it's an online marketplace for only local creatives. And we do same-day delivery in Sacramento, plastic-free shipping nationwide, and free pickup from the store. It's our little FU to Amazon. And we want to start really increasing micro manufacturing here in Sacramento by local creatives. So we just help creatives get on board quickly and online because it's really hard to learn e-commerce. So if we can provide a lot of that heavy lift for creatives and all they have to do is make dope, excuse my French, shit, and they just bring that and sell it, then that's great. So that's Sacramento.shop, and we moved there and we are trying to really get used to it. And we're starting right now to build our event schedule. So we're going to have a lot of classes and things like that happening again. So come hang out.
Classes for sure.
Yes, and just come and hang out with us. There's a place to hang out. It's a place for all of us just to hang. So, yeah.
I love it. Well, your other environment was so perfect to really infuse that creative spark into so many people. That just sharing space with like-minded people can help lift everybody. You know, it's just really a fun spot to be, and I hope that that's a good home for you. So I got to get over there and check it out.
Yes, it is. I think it's even better for us now because we have a lot more foot traffic. So, you know, so before in our previous location, it was a hidden away building. Yeah. Now it's pretty much out in the open. We're a little bit more exposed, as you will. And I'm excited because we've got other programs that are launching and things like that. And it's just, and we've been welcomed really kindly from the old Sacramento community. And we're bringing back Upcycle Pop. So February 13th, we're going to do an Upcycle Pop. And every Saturday, we're going to have an art market there. So we're going to try and bring more art and activity into old Sacramento. So that's our goal.
Excellent, excellent. And you know what? As that weather starts changing too, that is going to just light it on fire because people can be out and the weather is, you know, conducive to that. I hope you're kind of like the window on the world because in old Sacramento, you have this, you know, audience of tourists and special occasion kind of events that when you start seeing that pick up, you know it's happening all over the city. So you'll be able to test the temperature of, you know, just what you see happening in Old Sac as to when things are kind of starting to open up again too. So
yeah, it's been kind of crazy. A lot of people have been hanging out at Old Sac when we were like, like it should be dead. So really only the last, I think, week has it been like really dead. And I think that's the weather and everything else. But yeah, it's been interesting. So we're learning and we're excited to be in Old Sac. I think a lot of people, you know, I think it's going to be good. Bringing more art, local art, just, you know, a lot of cities that have like a tourist industry, a tourist location will have galleries of local artists. I mean, that's where local artists thrive. So I'm really excited. And I've connected a lot with others. So there's also Tana who has Blue Nile Art, and there's, you know, others that are there, and we're kind of really trying to help each other. So it's cool there.
Is the Artist Collaborative still open?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Good. That's yet another, you know, perfect outlet for artists of different types to.
And the more we have, the more artist hubs we have, the more it's just better for the whole creative community. So, you know, I think it's all about collaboration over competition every time, every time.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot about, you know, the artists that you work with, the filmmakers and film artists of all kinds that we work with, and how there's so much potential crossover, but they kind of are independent of each other. So I love that, you know, we have the relationship and communication that we can, you know, really find ways to initiate cool things that reflect all of our artists and find ways that they can even cross support each other. This program, I think that you have worked with the Cable Commission, which kudos to you on that, because it's not easy finding, you know, money, especially for this type of project, and you managed to find the niche, and that's.
I can't take all the credit. This was definitely, I cannot take all the credit. This was definitely a collaborative effort. This was a collaborative effort with Andrew Kehoe, with the mayor's office. He kind of came up to me and was like, "Hey, what do you think? Do you think this is cool?" And I was like, "Okay, well," and so let me engineer that, you know. So I kind of worked to engineer this with Andrew, and then we took this to Eric Guerra. Eric Guerra is a big arts advocate. You know, Steve Hansen got a lot of credit for a lot of art stuff, but really Eric Guerra is huge on the arts and huge about environment. And so he was like, "Oh, this is a great idea. Let's push this forward." So along with Andrew Kehoe, Eric Guerra, and then Eric's team, we really pushed forward. Sarah Paulo really pushed forward and kind of like, and then also it was all the whole artist community, because we said to them, "Hey, if you're interested in this, write a letter, write an email, write anything, you know, to them saying that you want this." And because of that, they said yes, because they realized that there was a need. So like advocacy is really important. And so that's really, so it was really a community effort to do this. I cannot take credit, you know, on myself. Like it was really a community that all came together. So I am fortunate and grateful. I'm just kind of like the engineer that figured out, okay, this is how we're going to do it, you know, like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I really like to listen to the community, and a lot of times the community will come to me and say, "You know, it would be a good idea to do this." I'll be like, "Yeah, that is a good idea. Let's figure out how to do that," you know? So, so this is definitely, and I believe that ideas that come from within the community are really ideas that are going to thrive because it's what the community wants. So that's all I do, really.
Yeah. Now, you know, you wrangle all the cats. That's what you did. And I will tell you, because I wrangle cats myself quite often, that is a shitty, not fun job sometimes. But it really takes, you know, somebody with the discipline and the, you know, tough skin to be able to go, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Because you know, in this business also, when it comes to content creation, you get hit with a lot of no, you can't, and you can, but you're not going to make shit doing it. So, you know, this is kind of the thing that I think is so cool about this program, is that it represents the interests of both the artists. And we've been teasing about a lot. So I'm going to do a little intro to exactly what we're talking about, keeping in mind that, you know, we'll share the website as well. So in the chat, we can put the link to where people can get all the details if they don't listen to the entire broadcast and they want to just go straight to, you know, hit play.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about this and what's happening.
Okay, so I'm really excited about this project. This is a TV series that we are producing. It is a 20-episode TV series, 25 minutes each. And sorry, my dogs are going to suddenly come in here soon. I can hear them. So every episode is about 25 minutes, 20 episodes, and it is a compilation, really. So what we're asking is, we're asking creatives to submit to us short-form video content about how to be creative. What is it being a creative? And think of it, this is enrichment content. So we want to create content that is for K through 12, kind of the target market, but can be for even beyond. But K through 12, so keep it clean.
Comprehensible to K through 12, but really for anybody even above and beyond that.
Yes.
Okay.
And the idea is that we want to see, it could be short how-to videos, how to turn leftover paint at home into chalk paint. It could be how to make a very unique traditional dish. It can be in multiple languages. It can be how you create a mural, you know, by using a projector when you project, and this is how you do it. Just little nuggets of wisdom of how to be creative. I'd like to think of it as things you wouldn't even think to Google, or how to be creative, or what are good nuggets that you want to gift to the next generation for them to be a really good generation that will help us lead us into the next, you know, era of our lifetime. What do you think is important to educate them? Because a lot of things, they'll be like, some people say to me, well, they don't teach this at school. Well, here's your opportunity. If you've got something you think people should know, if it's like a little nugget of history, maybe of Sacramento that is not known, maybe it's a little nugget of history about, I don't know, a certain religion that is unknown to us. Anything that you think that would broaden the spectrum, and that is creative. It can be a sock puppet history lesson. Get creative. I'm not saying no to anything, and I'm keeping it kind of broad. The only parameters that we have is that I'm telling people to keep it short. We have short attention spans, and we want it to be really, really short. We want to pay as many creatives as possible for this content. So we're limiting up to 5 minutes for each creative to have. And I'm saying this with like a, you know, depends on what kind of content we get eventually, but we want to be able to pay as many creatives as possible. So we're saying, okay, we're going to approve per creative up to 5 minutes. We do encourage teams. So, you know, you might submit 2-3 videos, and then a team member will submit other videos. So you can apply and write down who your team members are, so that way we can disperse evenly funds. I'm sure there's a lot of questions.
5-minute max?
5-minute max, but I recommend them splitting it. So kind of like send me a 1.5-minute video and a 2-minute video. You can submit as many videos as you want, you know. There's no limit to submission, but we will accept per creative up to 5 minutes, approximately up to 5 minutes. So that way we're paying evenly as many creatives as possible.
And then what I'm imagining is that a lot of people would want to use that, because 5 minutes is not very long, would use that time to promote themselves. But yeah, that's not necessarily what you're looking for, correct?
I'm not looking for a TV series that's going to be a 25-minute commercial. No. But I will say this. I would like to get content that is, oh, here's how you practice your vocals, or here's a good warm-up before you go on. Here's a weird trick that I know. Like, I know before I go on stage, there's a trick that you pull out your tongue and you start talking like really weird. You know, this is a trick. But what we will do is we'll have a QR code underneath each artist that is, and that will direct people to wherever they want. If they want to send people to their Instagram account, their own website, that's how we're going to promote them. But I don't want it to be a commercial, if that makes sense. I don't want it to be, this is my business and this is what I'm doing. And no.
Right.
Educate us. Show us something of value that will enlighten us as like, oh my God. I want people to watch it and go, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know how that's how they do that.
Right. And that's not to say that somebody couldn't, you know, we'll pick on Aaron Leong, who's one of our filmmakers. Aaron Leong could do a 5-minute video talking about how to set up lighting for, you know, a single shot camera interview. It certainly promotes what he knows, but it also shares something that is educational to the person watching it. So he's benefiting from both ends, in that his name is out there putting out content but at the same time, he's sharing a lesson.
Correct. Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Like if you make costumes or, you know, show us a little something that we wouldn't know, that's like a little like tidbit, or I don't know, there's endless. We have, and I believe in our creatives here in Sacramento. We have extremely talented people here. And I'm excited to see what they do and what they know. The only issue I think is that, oh, yay, there are questions. I love questions. But I think that, you know, it's really important just that it's genuine and from the heart. So I'll wait for questions.
You know, we're getting a lot of questions that are specific to the submitting what quality or medium is needed, any kind of a content guidelines for a target age group, which is, I don't know if you have, there's Sonia.
Sonia! Yay! I love it that I know people here.
Here's some content guidelines for the target age group, which, I mean, how that list can be enormous because.
Yeah, I just say, like, if it's, and this is Sonia, so I mean, like, Sonia, pretty much anything you do is pretty awesome. But it's really K through 12, just, I don't know if you're going to be teaching the spectrum of color and what that is, or how music interacts with different colors, or the electronics behind certain automations and stuff like that. Anything is like really interesting. And what it's going to be is a TV series that's a mix match of all these different things, and it's going to be so quick that you'll be able just to kind of watch this through. We're not going to be creating a like an episode about music, an episode about art. We're not doing that. It's just going to be random, and just we're going to see how we kind of flow it together. But yeah. Content, I think there was a question on like what kind of content. We're keeping it open. This is COVID, and we're supposed to be, you know, isolated. So they make movies on your iPhone. So if you've got a good phone, you can do that. What we recommend is not filming vertical.
Please,
please, because this fits better on our screens. Try to keep your camera steady. You know, that's really important. But the most important thing is sound. If your sound is bad and we can't hear you, or there are issues in the background, that's a problem. Another possible problem to look out for is if you have somebody else's art in the background and you don't have permission to show it, or you have somebody in your shot. So make sure you have everybody's approval of whatever you're showing. If you're playing music and you want that to be part of your submission, make sure you have the rights to that music. You don't have to submit with music. We're going to add music on to tie things together. So don't feel like you have to submit something totally finished. It has to be just close enough that we can add like a soundtrack to it. Another thing would be, talent releases, just making sure you've got that. And that's all on so if you go to atrium916.com/TV, we have all the instructions there. A big question that a lot of people have is like, well, if I don't have, you know, I'm an artist. Thank you for sharing that link. I'm an artist, but I don't have the equipment and I want to share a song or a poem. Oh, poem, right? So what we put there is there's a link that you can go and you can add your information there. So if you're like, oh, I have equipment, I can help artists create content, add your info there. And if you're looking for somebody, then there's a link there. So we kind of just made it a Google Doc that you can add your information.
And keep in mind, if anybody's either putting information in or wanting to vet or get somebody to vet the information that's there, this is purely just courtesy. Here's some names and numbers we've gathered. It's not any kind of
anybody,
a recommendation system of any kind. So, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I think if you put yourself out there, that's the first step. And what
And
we
it's up to them to negotiate their own deal. So we're all about, we get the finished project. You submit a project to us, kind of like a film festival of sorts. You know, a film festival doesn't deal with like the producer's contracts. I just want to see the finished product. And then you tell me, okay, these are the people that worked on it. So that way, if I see, oh, this team of 5 people submitted 10 videos, well, it's a team of 5, so I can split the payments in between those 5. So that's why it's important. If you are working as a team, it's really important to lay out who are the team members.
Oh, really? You're going to do that?
Why not? I want to pay as many people.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
that's great. I think that's one of the things where when you have group productions, and who holds the reins is often the only person that gets, compensated or mentioned, but it's got to be something that's clear from the person submitting it.
Correct.
You're not going to be pulling that information out of them. That's up to them to provide that. What about credits? Will they include any kind of credits, or is there any kind of
there's not going to be much time about credits. The credits will happen at the end of every episode. So we're going to be creating the credits on every episode of like, this was submitted by. So when you do your submission, it will be, you're just writing the names of the people.
Okay. My 5 minutes of content won't have to include credits. That's something that will be added on to. Okay.
Yeah, no. I just want clips. Think of it as a clip. You don't have to do a whole intro or outro. I'm probably not going to use it. We're going to create our own intro, outros, credits, and stuff like that. Really, I just need, if you think of it like, what is that TV show of like Americans Funny Video, home video, or something like that?
America's Funniest Home Video.
Where they submit clips and then they put it together. Right. Along those lines, something not as cheesy and terrible, but like just, you submit the clip and it's almost complete, and I can just put it together and splice it to edit it all together. That's kind of what we're looking for.
Okay. And what we haven't said is how the payments, obviously your content has to meet the criteria of the program, which is pretty broad, to be honest. It needs to meet, all of the stipulations they're asking for, and it cannot exceed 5 minutes. So creative is your
so here's how it goes. When you submit content, we're going to review the content, and we're going to look for the first phase. We're looking at quality. Is the sound good? Is the camera decent? Is the content of interest and makes sense for what we're looking for? If it meets all those 3, then it passes to the next phase, which is creative. And that means it goes into the editing, and we put it there and we try to find a home for it. Which episode, what does it fit next to? Where does it go? And then once we've got lock picture, which I assume everybody here on this talk knows what lock picture is, where we've decided this is what we have, we're locking picture. Now we're going to move on to doing sound and fixing sound however we can. That's when we're going to start kind of reaching out and going, okay, here's your contract, here's this. And once we've got the signed contract, we'll be submitting payments. Originally, we were thinking of doing payments through PayPal, but PayPal recently changed their policy. So I don't want to work with them anymore because they want to charge extra fees for paying people, which anyway, we're going to be submitting checks. So, and that's just how it's going to go. But one really important thing to say is that we are not purchasing the content. We are licensing the content. And this is really important because we want to license the content for, KVIE, and because this is going to be going on KVIE, Access Sacramento, and Metro 14. Once we're done with that, and we're allowing local nonprofits to use for free. If we sell it again to another station, like if we sell it to another, I don't know, I don't want to put out names or any kind of thing, but if we sell it to another cable company station, I would be in a position that I can pay creatives again for their content. And that is why we're licensing the content and not purchasing the content. Also, it's a creative's content. It's their content. I don't want to own their content. So that's the reasoning behind that. The 5 minutes is, it can be split up. So you can send me, 5 videos, each one 1 minute, which I recommend, because then you're kind of like, your face is going to be in multiple locations within that whole series, right? So instead of just one chunk of 5 minutes, you might have a minute here, a minute here, a minute here. Maybe you're going to be awesome and just send me like a 20-second funny little video clip that's going to be my little in-between. And, I don't know. It's just open to anything, really.
And can you create content that can be linked together? So if I have a 5 1-minute videos, can they be chapters and I can make sure that they're screened together, or is it better to put it all into one? Because they're going to take the same amount. If it's 5 minutes of content, whether it is 5 minutes in one content or whether it's 5 videos of 1 minute each, it's how much per second?
Oh, $2 per second.
$2 per second.
Yeah.
So doing the math
for 5 minutes of content, that's $600.
Right. Not bad for 5 minutes. Not bad for 5 minutes, especially when the stipulations are, I think it's really making sure the content, it's easy enough to make the content digestible, with the technology that we all have access to.
Yeah.
So it's really just making the content
cool
and interesting.
Interesting, cool. If you want to have sound to it, then you can do that. If not, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna send this and it's a funny thing that doesn't have sound, and if it's good, we'll add it. But something funny is great to break up different things. Just educational. It's really open to anything. And the working title we have is How to Be Creative, but I don't know if that's going to fit. And we've played around with the name things to Google, things you wouldn't think to Google or Noodle, because that's what it's going to be. It's just these things that you just wouldn't even think to Google. Yeah. Any more questions?
The cool thing is this is this is K through 12. So you can be teaching some very, very basic things to a young audience that doesn't have to be really complicated. It can be, how do you tie your shoes? I don't
know. Maybe it's a unique way to tie your shoe. Maybe it's even like you have a really cool song that you do when you tie your shoes. So instead of it just being a boring, how do you tie your shoes? Because I don't want to do a Barney. But like, maybe it's like, here's a song I invented on how to tie your shoe. And it's like this cool poem, a song or something. Give it a twist. Give it a Sacramento twist of like, no, this is, something cool that like people go, oh, that's dope.
Now, what about if it's something that's already been filmed and it's already accessible on YouTube?
That's fine. As long as we have the rights to show it, that shouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay.
We have the rights to show it. And then, that shouldn't be a problem at all. And if I get, and this would be a really great problem to be in, I'm trying to think a couple of steps ahead. If we were to sell the program again and they would come to me saying, oh, one of those clips is on YouTube and we can't, then I just kind of approach the artist and go, hey, do you mind turning that down so we can sell this whole program? So that would be a great problem to have to solve. I'd be happy to solve that problem. Yeah,
because they're not getting paid for it right now where it is. So
well, we don't know. I mean, you could be monetizing on YouTube and making money. So
that is true. That's true. That's a good point. So I'm just like, my brain is crazy on all the many, many different types of content. Are there any stipulations on the medium or how it's to be delivered, or you just literally send me a Vimeo link?
It's pretty much, and this is kombucha, by the way, so just in case.
Sure. Whatever.
I don't drink alcohol for that much. No. So in the application, it's pretty straightforward. You're filling out a form and then you're giving us a link. That link is something that we can view. So if it's password protected or unrestricted, make sure you give us the password. And then we will review that and then kind of give you feedback. So we will give you feedback saying, yay, it's moved on to the next phase, which is creative, or hey, we have to pass on this one and here are the reasons why. We don't really want to go back and forth. The next step for you, if we say, oh no, we have to pass on this, next step would be for you to correct what we gave you notes on, and you can resubmit or submit something completely different. So there is no limit to how many you can submit. Another question I've gotten is like, is there going to be a deadline on when this closes? No, I'm going to close it when we get enough content, when we have enough good content to kind of release. So I don't want to put just an arbitrary date that won't mean anything. So really, the sooner we fill up with wonderful content, the sooner we can close. The next question is really, when are we opening? So right now, the content is there and people can start submitting now. We haven't done the official launch. I'm waiting for Sacramento Cable Commission to give me the official thumbs up now. Go, do a PR press release and market this out. So that, not yet. I'm waiting for their kind of thumbs up. So I'm on a holding pattern from them right now.
That will anybody else who's like, their gears are already turning and they've got something that they want to send you just because they feel like, I want to get in on it. Yeah, early on.
Send it. Just start sending it, and we'll get through them. I'm really excited to see what's going to come in through the pipeline, because I know we have super creative people. Like, I just know that there's going to be super dope stuff that, I don't know. Sacramento is really creative and humble, which is awesome. So it's a wonderful combination.
Yeah. Well, again, any artists that are watching this that are not comfortable doing something themselves, that's where organization, the Capital Film Arts Alliance is an association of filmmakers and writers and actors. So if there's something that's a little bit more complex than what you can shoot with your camera phone all by yourself, and you're not sure who to turn to, reach out and we can talk about who you need and what you need. And certainly that's something you'll want to share any rewards if your content gets selected. But, if you make, 400 or 500 instead of 600 because you're sharing the cost to produce it, that just means more people get to, share and take advantage of it too.
So may I have permission to put Capital Film Arts on our site as like a resource? Is that okay?
Yeah, please do. Yeah. Anybody, if they don't already know about us, we definitely want them to know that we're there. And then if they have questions about this program, anything that they respond to will come, through me, or I can vet it to our other board members to answer any questions that, might come of that. I'm trying to imagine just all of the 5-minute, kind of examples of, what can be produced and how it can be done. And, the great thing is, without having that, ridiculous turnaround time that we often have in film competitions, without any guarantee of pay at all, this gives you a much better shot. How many of the slots did you say you have for 5 minutes?
So with 20 episodes and 25 minutes each, we have 500 minutes to fill. Okay. So that would be, if every artist submitted a full 5 minutes, that would be 100 approved creatives that we would be paying. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a lot. It's a lot. And I believe we're going to find great content. I really do believe. I know we have amazing poets. We have amazing dancers that could show how to, show how to do a certain move, that's really cool and hard to do. Show us an amazing shuffle. Pardon me, the kombucha got to me. But I have met so many creative people here in Sacramento that I know every single one of them has a gift to give. So I would say to them, think what gift you can give. And that would be magical.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And what would be, I think any of you that have kids and that have teachers that you have access to or that are in your family, you know, tap those teachers for some interesting ideas of things that they think that their kids would be engaged by. You know, it's no better use than to actually create the content and then to find out that in fact it's really been beneficial, that teachers have, you know, really been able to relate to their class in some way, whatever that might be. And
You know, with a lot of kids. Oh, sorry.
no, I was just saying I'm really excited to see what shows up and what people can do, and how, if we're talking about artists, both in, you know, real time hard art and, you know, technical and digital art, there's so many things that we can see tied into this. So it's really unlimited. I think that's the almost scary part, is that it's so unlimited.
Well, yeah, it's the only limits are, you know, keep it clean. Remember that it's 4K through 12, and we want this to be enrichment content that is truly enriching, right? This is content that a teacher will want to send, that we will want to put our kids that are right now in lockdown in front of the TV and go, oh, you know what? We can sit there in front of them. They're going to get something out of this one.
Yeah.
You know, and that as a parent to 2 kids, like, I'm constantly looking for content that will be enriching, that will give them insight, that will, I don't know, teach them to be omni-considerate, that will teach them what is adaptiveness, what is, you know, being regenerative, what does that mean? You know, things like that, I think, are things that we need to pass on to the next generation. We need, because, I mean, I can get into it, but I mean, the next generation is going to have a hard time due to climate change. And so, you know, I don't know, maybe this is survival skills. I don't know. So if you can imagine what skill would be useful to them, and I believe creativity is a skill that, because creativity allows you to adapt to certain changes. It allows you to think outside of the box when you happen to come across a problem. And I believe that creatives are the ones that can solve problems because they don't see the box. There is no box to a creative. So I'm really excited to see. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm sorry if you hear my kids. They're trying to play guitar.
Hey, a guitar lesson. There you go. That should be coming up. No, as a matter of fact, that's just every Zoom call that I'm on has some form of, you know, distraction. Let's see here. We got a question. Diodonis just put it up.
Oh, Diodonis, yay.
As if you're working with someone, would it be possible to do a 10-minute film and then turn it into 2 separate 5-minute videos and split the credit, or all videos a hard 5-minute maximum regardless?
You know, that's a great question. Yeah, I guess it could be a 10-minute film put in, and then if it's 2 people, then we're splitting it to 2 people. Yes. The only thing is that I want to keep it kind of moving, so, you know, it really depends on the pace. But it would be a 10-minute film. I guess I need to know a little bit more. Like, is this a narrative film that's going to teach about something? Then yeah, I think so. So I guess the answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Content, yeah.
But we are trying to keep them short just because of, and maybe we would split it so it's like, oh, 5 minutes here, intersection, and then it continues, the story continues later, or because we're just trying to keep it a certain fast pace. So yeah. I guess I'd have to see, but I would say pretty much yeah.
I mean, the main thing is that, Diodonis, if you submit something under your own name and it's more than 5 minutes, I mean, if it's more than one piece of content and more than 5 minutes, you're only going to get paid for 5 minutes. So you want to make it a community event if you're doing more, so you can share that time.
Yes.
So,
yeah, we want to share that. And also, I just want to make sure the reason we're doing this is because we didn't want somebody to submit like, oh, I'm going to submit an hour-long piece of content, and we have one person's face, for an hour or, a couple of episodes. So we really want to spread out and make sure that we're highlighting all the creatives. And it is county-wide, so you have to be within Sacramento County. That's a little thing. I don't know if we mentioned that.
That was my next question. So you have to be a resident of Sacramento
County. Yes. So I have to submit the check to you, pardon me, in Sacramento County. And if I'm paying you $600, you have to give me a W-9. So that means you have to reside in Sacramento County. You can't give me your friend's location to send you a check. Just know that a W-9 is what we pay independent creatives. If we pay over $600 a year, we have to send you a 1099.
So your friends at the IRS will, in fact, know that you made this huge thing of money, but
it's not a lot. But if you do hit the 5, some people may only submit up to 4 minutes and everything else. So.
Yeah.
But our nonprofit, our goal is to be able to pay creatives. A large part of our budget within the atrium is paying creatives. So finding creative opportunities to pay creatives.
Yeah. And then is there an ideal time for the program to begin, or are you just going to, what is the Cable Commission expecting in terms of when that content will be deliverable?
We don't have that much of a timeline. They would like it done when it's done, pretty much. I would like to have it done by this year. It would be great. I don't know, editing wise or anything like that, but it would be great to have it done by this year. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to get or how long it's going to take for us to get the good content. Maybe, as soon as we launch it within a month, I'll have so much content that would be amazing. Or maybe it will take longer because some content we receive has to go back. And so there might be, so we'll see. I'm just pretty much open right now, and I want to leave it open so I am not restricting a creative. I really want to keep it open to their creativity.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of unknowns doing that, but I kind of like it. It's like, I don't know, it's gonna be a surprise. It's gonna be fun.
It'll be fun. That's for sure. Let's see. So we have a question from Adrian Anderson. Is there absolutely zero way for artists outside of Sacramento County to submit, putting money aside? I'm a resident of Sutter County.
Oh, thank you. Oh, more kombucha? Thank you. Sorry.
Your waitress. How nice. Be sure to tip your wait person.
I raised them well. Yes.
Yeah. So are you specifically limited Sacramento County? The reason I ask this is, as an example, Access Sacramento has for enrollment in Access Sacramento and in taking classes within their organization, you have to be a resident of Sacramento County. We have an arrangement with them where the CFAA, being a Sacramento County organization, if we have members that that want to join Access, and if they're from out of the county, we submit a letter of request to provide a waiver to that particular member to allow them to join, even though they're not a member of the county. So we have found a way to kind of slide under the door and allow people who want to learn, filmmaking and broadcasting, and they're just, in and around the region. Have you considered that or thought about it, or do you want to just kind of wait and see what's going to happen?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it. The reason it's funding wise is because Sacramento Cable Commission is funding this, and they want to make sure that they are supporting the residents that are paying for their service. So they want to make sure that the taxpayers that are paying the bill are actually getting the benefit from it. So I haven't really thought about that, Adrian. I think that's a really good question. Yeah, putting dollars aside. So I mean, I would submit if you have something that's not too hard for you to submit. I would submit anyway, because I don't know what's going to happen after this, and so
If you have to start,
anyway, but no, what's that?
I was gonna say, if you have to start going, okay, we need to expand to allow more content because we didn't get enough, so let's look
That's
to
true.
this, surrounding county. Or what I would do, Adrian, if I were you, is I would totally reach out to find somebody within Sacramento County that you can partner with, and maybe you work together to create 2 different pieces or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So, you never know what new creative partners you might be able to make just so that you can qualify to have your content be included.
I think that's a brilliant idea, Laura. That's really good.
Yeah. And everybody, everybody has a Facebook page. You can always go on to ours, the Atrium. You can reach out to Shira or myself if, there's any kind of dating apps that we can put together for people of different counties to be able to meet and work together. I don't know about that, but anything is possible.
We'll do it.
Yeah, and this again, it's not your typical narrative. You gotta, shoot a film and tell a story and have it cast. This is something that can be all of that and more. It can be a lesson. It can be an inspirational moment. It can be a poetry. God, it just really. I keep thinking of people that I know that already have really great content that would fit this category, and that they may have stuff that doesn't even have to be shot. It just has to be, resent. So I'm going to be nagging everybody in the CFAA about it, because I want them to put every effort out there to, get paid. Create something and get paid. The opportunities for short content and to make money, even though it's not gonna, be rent, it's gonna be a nice little chunk of change. It's the amount of your last stimulus check, for heaven's sake. Nobody hated getting that. So
yeah, so hopefully, and that's the goal, is really that it helps local creatives during this time, and also we're creating something that is beneficial to the community. So that really was the goal of this. And I just want to stress that I am really thankful for Andrew Kehoe and Eric Guerra, Councilman Eric Guerra, and Sarah Paulo. They were, and Steve Hansen, they were really people that really pushed to make this happen. So I just want to make sure that, the gratitude is there to them, because they were really thinking about this and thinking about the creatives the whole time. So just know that.
Listen, having people in politics that are, pushing for anything creative, I'm a huge advocate of that. So I love that idea. And let's see, John Gutierrez wants to ask, if one submits a 5-minute how-to video, I gathered leave out the editing parts. Shall we leave out watermarking too, or just submit raw A to Z video?
What's an A to Z video?
I think that's just from beginning to end, right? Isn't that what you mean?
Yeah. No watermarking. No watermarking. Just the raw video, hopefully edited so it's like how you want it. But yeah, no editing parts. I don't need an intro, no outro, or anything like that. And when you submit your content, we're going to ask you for, where do you want to send people with this video? Do you want to send people to your Instagram? Do you want to send people to your website, your Facebook page, wherever you want? For every little snippet, we're going to create a QR code, and that QR code will go on the screen, and we've already tested it, that it works on most screens. So that way somebody can, with their phone, when they're watching something, going like, oh, that is cool. Who is that? And then they just scan it with their phone, and it goes immediately to their site. I haven't seen a TV show do that yet, kind of create that interaction. So I think it's something that I don't know why they haven't done it. I think it's pretty rudimentary to me. So, but I think that's a great way to kind of go, oh, you want to learn more about this artist? Here you go. Here's a link.
So here's the first video that needs to be done. Teaching people how to use a QR code.
Ha! That's true. That is true. And I mean, like, you don't need much. Like older phones need an actual scanning app, but newer phones, all you have to do is open your camera and just put it over the QR code, and it will automatically pop up like, oh, do you want to go to this link?
Yeah. Used to be a lot more difficult, and I think it's one of the most brilliant ways to deliver information. But I do see that a lot of people, especially if they have to respond quickly, you know, I mean, I'm like that, for God's sake. If I got to do something fast, I guarantee you I will lose whatever online I'm looking for. So to be able to, make sure that everybody knows here's how you access that information, and here's why it's so important. But yeah, I think that's the next best thing to saving, green living is, why are we printing any programs? Why are we, well, one of these days when we actually have things that need programs, but yeah.
I mean, I'd love it to be, oh my gosh, like, and maybe that is something, it's a great idea that maybe we do it as a, as part of the intro to the TV series, that it's like a little animation that goes, you can scan this QR code with your phone. Get your phone ready when you're watching this TV series.
Be ready. But I love that idea, because I think that the benefit, even if you're teaching a lesson, if you want people to connect with you, whether it's because they like what you did, they want to know more, they want to hire you, whatever the case may be, I love that they will have that opportunity to promote themselves as the artist at some point. And that, again, it just makes our whole community that much more interactively connected to each other, which, there's nothing bad about that at all. Let's see, any other questions? Are there any questions you guys can think of that we haven't touched on yet? Up to $600 for a 5-minute video. No, I should say that. $500 bucks for up to $600 for up to a 5-minute video. No, for a 5 minute.
Yeah, so for approved, I know but like once you have approved, minutes, you can have up to $600. So like the maximum we can pay per creative is $600. And I'm just going to be really excited to get into the editing bay and work on this. It's going to be fun. And the most exciting thing for me is once we've got this and it's going, that I can like start working on selling it again. Like I'm excited to have something that I'm going to be so proud of that I can sell it again, and then go to all the creators going, woohoo, more money.
Yeah.
Again. So, I mean, it could be $600 now, but if, it could be more if we can get it, sold elsewhere.
Yeah. I want to come watch over your shoulder when you start getting that stuff in and seeing what you're going to be able to do with it. And just so that you guys know, if you're not familiar, so Shira comes to us not only as a huge arts advocate and champion of all things sustainable and artistic, but she's also a filmmaker, and she's done documentary filmmaking and other projects. Tell us a little bit about, give us your pitch. Okay. What's the Shira pitch? Who are you, and why do you do what you do?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I totally forgot about that. Good call. So let me see. Okay. So I studied performing arts back in Israel. I'm half Israeli, half Australian. That's why the weird accent nobody can pick up. It's like, what are you? And then I came to Los Angeles in 2004. I was an actress for a number of years, and then now my Australian's going to come out because I talk about Australia. And then I got into documentary filmmaking, and I made a feature documentary back in 2006, 2007. As documentaries go, it takes about 4 to 7 years to make a feature documentary, so it only got released in 2011. But during that process, after I did that feature documentary, I got approached by a lot of nonprofits, organizations, to create short form documentaries and commercials for them. So I have a production company called Unleashed Productions. I had an office in LA, and I have an office still in San Francisco, where I work with organizations, large nonprofits, organizations, companies that try to take a complex issue and kind of try to explain it in a way, or I've raised funds for a lot of organizations. I have tried to help change policies with organizations. And my company is called Unleashed Productions, and we only work with organizations that give a damn. Meaning I've said no to Bayer, the big drug manufacturer. Jack in the Box approached me to do a documentary about like some kind of lawsuit that they were having. So, I mean, I've said no to some really big clients, and I'm a bitch when it comes to morals. Like, it's like, no, nah. So, but as a documentary filmmaker and commercials, I've been a lot of places. I've been through wars, war zones. I've tried to help economies. So I was in, West Virginia, helping them diversify their economy from coal. I got to see a lot of stuff, and it was my job to illuminate the problem and explain the problem. But I never got to solve the problem. And that was something that I really always wanted to do. I really wanted to do that. And so creating this nonprofit has allowed me to do that I'm now actually part of the solution and not just telling people what the problem is. So that's been one of the fun things about starting the Atrium, that we're about solving problems and coming up with solutions. So I haven't been making, so this is going to be the first time I'm producing something in a while since I started the Atrium, except for a couple of small snippets of little videos that, I do. But yeah, so this is exciting for me. It's kind of like circling it back. I've been doing documentaries and commercials for close to 16 years now, but I've been in the entertainment business ever since I was a child. I used to be one of those kids that because I was really flexible as a child, so they used to put me into suitcases. And I used to do the doll, and I'd be the rag doll that comes out of a suitcase, kind of like, I don't know. I never thought of acting and performance as a career. It was just always something I had done my whole life. That was just always the change that I had to kind of do stuff. So I don't know. And then it became a career. But so that's me.
How long have you been in Sacramento?
I think we moved here end of 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 2016. Yeah. And then I started Upcycle Pop in 2017, end of 2017, because I was just working in LA and San Francisco all the time, and I felt really disconnected and I wanted to get to know the local creatives here. So I started Upcycle Pop when City of Sacramento said was the first creative economy grant. So so I did that, and that was fun. I didn't get the grant, but I was too far ahead, and I just continued doing it. And I was just like, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna do it because it's gonna be fun, and I wanted to get to know local creatives. So then we did it, and then it was good, and then we did it again, and then the creatives liked it, and then we just started talking. They were like, oh, let's just have a co-working space. And I said no at first, but then the landlord of the building that we were occupying was like, why don't you have a co-working space? And I was like, oh, now I'm the asshole. So I told everybody, like, okay, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it my way. And you're going to have to put up with my bullshit, which is we're going to have to make it sustainable. We're going to do zero waste events. Everything's going to be eco-friendly. And that's just how it started. So, and really quickly, we got to being at our old location, 18 organizations. We had at a high point, 18 organizations there.
I know. How many of them stayed with you throughout? Through the
we didn't have that much space. So like SAC Dance Lab, they kind of like graduated. They went and got their 5-year lease. They moved into a beautiful new facility. Isela, they're doing great. A couple of others kind of moved out and kind of found other locations, because the new place that we're in is like, we went from 34,000 square feet to 3,500 square feet. So now we only have, we've got Brandon Greathouse with the Great House of Dance. We've got Yenny Zhu, who's an amazing designer, and she can build sets. Oh, this girl is like a goddess of creativity. And then we've got Sacramento.shop, which is our program. We've got Kit Bridges, who's got C Bridges Gallery. So that's a gallery of his blown glass and stuff, but also friends of his. And then we've got Sacramento Costumers. Sacramento Costumers, they do costume design for film, theater. They do costume design for Sacramento Opera. And they teach classes. So they have draping classes, hat classes, all these cool stuff. So that's who we have right now, and we're kind of small, and we're in talks with the city to see if we can take on more space there. But the building that we're in is supposed to be torn down. But it isn't being torn down because COVID happened and they didn't have money to tear it down. So
that's amazing that they made that opportunity available to you. And I hope that it continues to work for the new iteration of what you're, wanting to do. And obviously it's a different path than where you were on before, but that's okay. We
were supposed to move into a different building. And we were working with the city, and the city was going to help build out this building because it was a cold shell. But due to COVID, there was no funding to move into that building. And the building that we're in, I actually applied for an RFP for that building years ago. But when they told me that, after I applied and wrote out, and they were like, oh, this is great. And then I suddenly, and I was like, okay, it's a 30-year plan, because like if we're investing in this building. And then they came back and said, well, we can only lease it for 5 years. I'm like, well, I'm not going to invest in a building if I only have it for 5 years. I'm not going to get any return on investment. So then I was like, okay, I won't do it. And then the city was like, why don't you just do pop-ups there and just test it out? So really, the building that we're in, we can't do much with, because it's deemed to kind of be demolished, but nobody knows when it's going to be demolished and turned into a park. So we're kind of there on a limb. The building is not in the greatest shape, but we're holding it up. But the building has been vacant for 15 years. And so we got in there, and it was a lot of sweat and tears this summer. Just painting and fixing, and a lot of the floor is Bondo. It's just a lot of the floor is rotten, so we had to Bondo the floor. And we fixed everything, and it was like 10-15 years of dust, and it was wonderful. But so that's where we are right now, and we'll see where we go from there. We're taking it day by day.
Parking has probably never been easier in Old Sacramento than it is right now.
Yeah. Do you know that it's free to park on the weekends now, and it's free after 4:30 in Old Sacramento due to COVID?
So, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. Free after 4:30 and free on the weekends.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not tell anybody. Okay. So if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
You don't want to spill those beans. So they can be submitted anytime. We gave them the website address. We gave all of the information. And actually on the website, Shira has a couple of videos there that really break down, more information, answer a lot of the questions. It's very thorough. It's very informative what you've put together to answer any questions. I will guarantee you that there's probably twice as much information that you haven't thought about, just because
probably
people will, and creatives will submit something that they think will work and find out that it won't. Whatever we can do to certainly support, we're going to encourage the Sacramento film community to step up and use their skills and their innate talents to create something and to get paid. We want to see that happen. But ultimately, if other artists could, have benefit from assistance of others who are good at their jobs because they care that much about the content they're going to be submitting, then give us a call. Well, I'm happy to put the information out there and see how we can. Nothing makes me happier than to make connections, to find that there is a need here and there is somebody with a skill here, and we introduce them and they're able to do something that they wouldn't have been able to do if it was just the two of them, individuals. So I want to see as much of that as we can take place, and however we can support. We're certainly, Atrium fans and fans for life. So whatever we can do, we want to support that. But I'm really wanting to be along for the ride so that we can just have an idea of what you're actually going to be getting, what you're being squeezing out of our fleet that we have here in Sacramento. So
will be. But I am so grateful to you, Lori, and Capital Film Alliance, because like it's organizations like this that really help a community thrive, and it's like what really bring people together and just help local talent really rise up. And I just want to thank you, because you do a lot of work, and the whole team behind it. There's a whole team behind it, and I'm really appreciative and thank you, and constantly reach out to you. So thank you so much.
You know what? It's not very often where I feel like there's you meet somebody and then you just kind of have that. We just zeroed in on that. We were passionate about the same things and we were the same types of personalities. And so I figure if we can't make something happen, nobody's going to be able to make it happen.
Great. I love you.
I kid. So thank you again. I think we've touched on basically everything having to do with this. Now it's going to be just start throwing in that content, and let's take a look at what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
We're going
to submit a press release soon and everything once it's official that we're allowed to. But just know that the portal is open for you to test and see. So
press release, smash release. We've got the porthole, we've got the access, we've got the information. Yeah. No one should be waiting to be told what to do. You go, you do it, you start doing it now. So first in.
No, it'd be great because it will allow me to test kind of and see, what issues did I not think of, and what do we need to prepare for, and things like that. So thank you so much.
Love you. Love your show. I can't wait to see where this goes, and I can't wait to see how many of our creatives are gonna get together. So let's make something cool happen. And if we can support anything so that you can bring in people from out of the region, out of the county,
great.
It works for access. I don't know if it would work for this, but we're happy to throw it
out. I think you and I can figure something out. So if anybody's here from out of the county or something like that, just submit. And then, if we see it, and then we'll try it, between Lori and I, we'll try and figure something out. And if it is, and as you recommended, Lori, I think connecting with the local Sacramento artist is probably the best way to go about it, because really the Cable Commission wants to support the people that pay Sacramento taxes. Yeah. I think that's their foremost.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, cool. We're going to keep you guys tuned in. You can reach Shira at the Atrium. If you have any questions, go to the website. You can reach us through the capitalfilmartsalliance.org website. Basically, anything that we can point you to help you create this, we're happy to do that. We have a newsletter that we send out, and social media and website, lots of ways we can communicate with the masses. So thank you all for chiming in, and we will have this archived on our website, on our YouTube channel, and on our Facebook page. If you didn't catch the whole interview, you'll be able to get that online and go back to the very beginning. So, because I know you want to hear more of us just gabbing with each other. So.
Oh, love you and love everybody.
So on the fourth Tuesday of every month, we have our Screenwriters Lab that they started at 6:30. And normally I try not to double book when we have things going on. But I was like, no, we don't want to wait because this is something this is going to come out in public. We want to give everybody a heads up. So I was just informed, I believe that's by Jack, saying the writers are here. Can we start all over?
Oh, well, hello, writers, and please watch this.
No, we will not start all over, but you can certainly go back to the beginning and just watch the Facebook interview all over again. So thanks again, love, and really fun seeing you. We're going to log off with everybody else and end the broadcast. Again, we're here for you. If there's something that you want that we can do more of, speak up. We want to hear about it. Thanks, everybody, and we'll be talking to you soon.